no bluebells were harmed during the making of this video. The carpet of bluebells is absolutely wonderful to witness, but just because you have the added element of bluebells does not instantly mean amazing photo opportunities. Composition is still important, and the woodland remains as chaotic as always. When it comes to close-up bluebell photography, I don't think I've yet taken an image with my 105mm macro lens that I was super excited by. In fact, in recent years, the only bluebell image that I've taken that I really loved was this image taken with a 200mm mirror lens, one of the very few bluebell images that I bothered to take last year. And so today I wanted to figure out, is photographing bluebells really for me, or have I just yet to find my style of photographing bluebells? So I've decided to go about it a bit differently by choosing focal lengths that I wouldn't have normally gravitated to. So I have a telephoto lens with me, and Laowa kindly allowed me to try out their new wide-angle macro lens. So I'm going to start off with the wide-angle macro lens because this is a perspective that I think is going to be quite challenging at first because I'm not used to wide-angle macro photography. So for our first shot, I've chosen this bluebell here, which has got this lovely curve in the stem. Because this is wide angle, popping this in the foreground as the main subject of this image, we're then going to get a lot of background in as well. And that's going to give some nice context of location. We're just going to get this hint of colour and this beautiful sea of bluebells. So this is a manual lens, and obviously with the D850 I don't have in-camera stabilisation. And I'm a terrible handheld photographer, and I'm going handheld because I don't want to get a tripod in here and accidentally damage some of these plants. So it's easier, especially with just low awkward angles, just to go handheld. So I'm relying on focus peaking to let me know what in the scene is in focus, and my ability to lock my elbows into my torso so that I can remain stable and attempt to get a sharp shot. Whether I'm successful, I guess we're about to find out, but hopefully at least one of them is in focus. I was proud of myself for capturing 1 or 2 sharp images, considering that I was shooting handheld with a very shallow depth of field. To maintain a fast enough shutter speed, I used a wider aperture and bumped up the ISO, which resulted in most of the image being out of focus. Which is not necessarily a drawback, it just makes selecting and achieving the right focus point all more critical. The bluebells are not quite ready yet, and it's a shame because I really have these wonderful ideas of capturing the flowers close up with this lens. And so what I'm going to do is pop this lens away for now, swap to the telephoto and see what I can capture with that, and come back to the wide-angle lens in a couple of days' time. I began framing some super zoom shots, but I did keep wishing that the bluebells were closer to their peak. I felt as though I was slightly early. I don't always like to force photography when I'm not feeling it, but I wasn't sure if I was genuinely trying to give myself the best chance at capturing a great image, or if I was just being picky. Bluebells, take 2. So I left this location because I was looking for the most perfect bluebells possible. And after sitting on that thought for a few days, I've realised that this is probably where I go wrong every single year when it comes to bluebell photography. There's an odd pressure in bluebell photography. The bloom is fleeting, the conditions are unpredictable, and there's this quiet urgency to nail the shot. But honestly, that kind of pressure and mindset really sucks the fun out of it and makes it feel difficult. I love isolating bluebells with a telephoto lens, singling out one or two, and I tend to look for the ones that are slightly taller, rising above the sea of bluebells. And I've got an interesting scene here actually. I spotted this extremely tall bluebell in the background here, and just in front there is a smaller one but still quite tall bluebell as well that stood out to me. And if I go vertically and focus for the one closer to the camera, we get this sort of mirror effect, which is quite interesting, where the second one, the much taller one, looming over the first, is out of focus in the background. This really is such a niche perspective, really. It's taking a bit to get used to, but it is pushing me to view the landscape a little deeper. I have this feeling that if I keep taking photos of bluebells as they're upright, they're beautiful, but I'll start taking the same image over and over again. So it's forcing me to just look a little harder, such as this scene here caught my eye, this bluebell that has fallen over, but the purples and the greens together just looks absolutely fantastic. With this lens, I have a very, very small working distance, and so I am quite literally nose to nose with my subject when I'm trying to focus. And I'm finding that, especially today, it's a sunny day, I'm causing shadows on my subject. But also, it just means that I can only really access the bluebells that are by my feet. Such as this scene here, this bluebell growing in the curve of this tree trunk. Now, I can get the camera in, but I can't actually see anything that I'm doing, and I can't tell that I'm in focus or not. And I'm working with a very, very narrow plane of focus, and so it's very, very easy to be out of focus with this lens. And obviously I'm not going to get in these bluebells in order to get closer, because, you know, I don't want to squash them. These days, if my telephoto lens is in my bag, then a close-up filter is lurking there too, and I suddenly felt inspired to use it for tightly framed shots of bluebells, filling the frame with smaller details, even though I originally had no intent to do this kind of macro photography. All of a sudden, I had so many ideas for bluebell photography, even if I didn't have the right kit with me. And this revelation made me feel a bit foolish as I further realised where I had been going wrong this entire time. Earlier I said that I had never taken an image of a bluebell with my 105mm macro lens that I had liked. That is true, however, I am now suddenly visualizing macro images with a standard macro lens that I could take, ideas that I had never thought of before, and I think this circles back round to the whole mindset side of things. There is nothing wrong with bluebells or bluebell photography. Is it difficult? It's not the easiest thing to photograph, but hey, if it were easy, then where would the fun be, I guess? But what has been wrong is my mindset, going in trying to get the perfect shot, trying to prove myself as a worthy photographer, you know, trying to just get the best bluebell image of my life. And that has blocked my creativity every single time. And I know this because this is something we talk about often in photography, in the photography community, about just being playful, being curious, letting go, and just having fun with it instead of pressuring yourself. Switching things up a bit this year forced me away from that unhealthy perspective, and instead I approached bluebell photography with a sense of curiosity, with playfulness and experimentation, knowing that there was going to be a lot of trial and error and that not everything was going to work. I have taken plenty of images with these lenses that either, whoa, blinded, that either I didn't like or they just didn't work. I probably took more images that didn't work than I did that did. Such as this backlit leaf. I was trying to get a sun star through it. And for the life of me, I couldn't get the focus because the leaf was just moving up and down so much, which was a shame, and that is going to haunt me while I sleep tonight. What this has reminded me is that variety is key to my creativity, and when I look back over the past few years at my Bluebell photography, it has certainly lacked variety. So perhaps that is why Bluebell photography just has always felt so difficult and creatively limited. But will I photograph bluebells next year? Yeah, probably, but I'll certainly do it with less importance attached to it. Would I go out again with a telephoto lens to photograph bluebells? Absolutely. I love the longer focal length for this. I think it gives some very dreamy, almost poetic images. But how about the wide angle macro lens? This is a fantastic secondary lens that creates a very unique perspective. It's a tool that's kind of difficult to master at first, and it doesn't suit every single scene. However, when it does work, it works beautifully and you can take some very magical, interesting images with it. One of these will probably be added to my camera bag by autumn because I think this will work really, really well with mushroom clusters. So it's not the bluebells, it's just me. And why am I even surprised? We all say, you know, there's no such thing as bad light, there is always a photo regardless, but there is such thing as an overthinking brain that has problems with motivation and inspiration. This human existence is very difficult to navigate sometimes. Beam me up, Scotty. Anyway, that is enough of me today, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Before I leave, I just want to share one more image with you.